Have you ever noticed how a child might have their father's nose, their mother's eyes, or even their grandmother's smile? These family resemblances are more than just coincidence, they're the result of genetics at work. From the shape of your face to the color of your hair, many of your features are inherited from your parents. But how exactly are these traits passed down, and why do some characteristics skip generations? Today, we'll explore the fascinating science behind heredity and what makes each of us unique, yet connected to our family tree. Heredity is the process by which traits and characteristics are passed from parents to their offspring. The word comes from the Latin hereditas, meaning heirship. For centuries, people have wondered why children resemble their parents and how certain traits seem to run in families. Heredity is at the heart of these questions, explaining the biological mechanisms that allow traits to be transmitted from one generation to the next. This process is fundamental to all living things, from plants to animals, and forms the basis of the science of genetics. Genetics is a branch of biology focused on understanding how genes bring about characteristics in living things and how those traits are inherited. It's the science that helps us answer questions about why we look like our parents, why some diseases run in families, and how plants and animals pass on their features. Genetics is built around the study of DNA, the molecule that holds all the genetic information for an organism. This field has revolutionized our understanding of life and continues to impact many areas, from agriculture to medicine. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain the core concepts of genetics, describe how genetics connects with other scientific fields, and discuss its applications in agriculture, medicine, and human development. Understanding genetics isn't just about memorizing terms, it's about seeing how this science shapes the world around us, from the food we eat to the medicines we use, and the way we grow and develop as individuals. Heart of genetics lies DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. DNA molecules contain all the instructions needed for an organism to grow, survive, and reproduce. Think of DNA as a blueprint for life, providing cells with the information they need to function. Each cell in your body carries a complete set of DNA, which determines everything from your eye color to your risk for certain diseases. Understanding DNA is the first step in unraveling the mysteries of genetics. Genes are segments of DNA that act as instructions for making proteins, which carry out most of the work in our bodies. These genes are organized into structures called chromosomes. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, each carrying thousands of genes. The combination of genes you inherit from your parents determines your unique traits. Chromosomes ensure that genetic information is accurately passed from one generation to the next during reproduction. Genetic inheritance is the process by which traits are passed from parents to offspring through genes. Each parent contributes half of their genetic material to their child, resulting in a unique combination. This is why siblings can look similar but also have differences. The study of inheritance helps us understand patterns in families, predict the likelihood of certain traits, and even prevent genetic diseases. Heredity is the transmission of traits from one generation to the next through reproduction. It explains why offspring resemble their parents and why certain features persist in families. Heredity is a fundamental concept in genetics, helping us trace the flow of characteristics and understand the biological connections between generations. Genes are the basic units of heredity. They are made up of DNA and carry the instructions for building and maintaining an organism. Each gene is responsible for a specific trait, such as eye color or blood type. Genes are passed from parents to offspring, ensuring the continuity of traits across generations. Allele is one of two or more alternative forms of a gene found at the same place on a chromosome. For each gene, you inherit one allele from each parent. The combination of alleles you receive determines how a particular trait is expressed. Some alleles are dominant, while others are recessive, influencing the traits you show. When both alleles for a gene are the same, the organism is homozygous for that trait. If the alleles are different, the organism is heterozygous. In heterozygous cases, the dominant allele is usually expressed, while the recessive one is masked. These combinations help explain why some traits appear and others do not, even within the same family. Dominant traits are those that are expressed when at least one dominant allele is present. Recessive traits, on the other hand, are only expressed when both alleles are recessive. This explains why some traits, like blue eyes, can skip generations. They are recessive and only show up when both parents contribute the recessive allele. Genome is the complete set of genes or hereditary factors in an organism. It contains all the information needed to build and maintain that organism. Scientists study genomes to understand how traits are inherited and how different organisms are related. The field of genomics has opened new doors in medicine, agriculture, and evolutionary biology. Genotype refers to the genetic makeup of an organism, the specific set of genes it carries. Phenotype, on the other hand, is the observable physical or biochemical characteristics, like height, eye color, or blood type. The phenotype results from the interaction between the genotype and the environment. This distinction helps scientists understand why identical twins can look alike but still have differences. Behavioral genetics explores how genes influence behavior. For example, studies on twins help scientists understand how much of our actions are shaped by genetics versus environment. This field looks at everything from intelligence to habits, revealing the complex interplay between our DNA and our experiences. Classical genetics was the first branch of genetic study, focusing on visible traits passed from parent to offspring. Gregor Mendel's experiments with pea plants laid the foundation for this field. By observing how traits like flower color and seed shape were inherited, Mendel uncovered the basic laws of heredity that still guide genetic research today. Cytogenetics blends the study of cell structure, cytology, with genetics. It focuses on chromosomes, the containers for DNA, and how they are involved in genetic transfer. By examining chromosomes under a microscope, scientists can detect genetic disorders and understand how traits are inherited at the cellular level. Developmental genetics studies how an organism forms and grows from a single cell to a fully developed individual. This field investigates how genes control the process of development, including the role of stem cells. Stem cells are unique because they can become many different types of cells, making them crucial for growth and medical research. Ecological genetics studies organisms in their natural habitats, focusing on traits that help them survive and thrive. For example, the color of a bird's feathers or the size of its beak can be crucial for survival. By studying these traits in the wild, scientists learn how genetics and environment interact to shape life. Genetic engineering involves changing or adding genes to an organism's DNA to create new traits or remove unwanted ones. This technology is used in agriculture to produce crops with better yields and resistance to disease, and in medicine to develop new treatments. Genetic engineering is a rapidly advancing field with the potential to transform many aspects of life. Genomics is the study of entire genomes, the complete set of DNA in an organism. By comparing genomes, scientists can explore evolutionary relationships and understand how genes interact. Genomics is one of the most popular and powerful tools in modern genetic research, leading to breakthroughs in health, agriculture, and beyond. Microbial genetics focuses on the genetics of microorganisms like bacteria and viruses. Thanks to advances in technology, scientists can now study these tiny organisms in detail. Microbial genetics has revolutionized our understanding of disease, antibiotic resistance, and even the origins of life. Molecular genetics examines the chemical properties of cells at a molecular level. It looks closely at the structure of DNA and how genes are expressed. This field helps us understand the smallest details of how life works, from the way cells divide to how mutations cause disease. Population genetics studies the genetic differences within and between groups of organisms. By analyzing these differences, scientists can track how populations evolve, adapt, and sometimes develop resistance to diseases. This field is essential for understanding biodiversity and the long-term survival of species. In agriculture, genetics helps us understand how traits are inherited in crops and livestock. For example, plant breeders select for traits like faster growth or disease resistance, while animal breeders focus on size or milk production. Techniques like artificial insemination and cloning allow farmers to propagate desirable traits, leading to better yields and healthier animals. Crops like corn and wheat are bred for traits such as faster maturity or higher nutritional value. Livestock, including cows and chickens, are selected for growth rate, milk yield, or disease resistance. By understanding genetics, farmers can produce better food, medicine, and materials for society. Genetic modification uses recombinant DNA techniques to introduce new traits into plants and animals. For example, scientists can create crops that are resistant to pests or drought, and animals that grow faster or produce more milk. These advances help address food security and sustainability challenges worldwide. Animal breeders use techniques like artificial insemination to spread the genes of prize animals. Hormone treatments can stimulate cows to produce more eggs, which are then fertilized and transplanted to foster mothers. Cloning allows for the creation of multiple identical animals, ensuring the best traits are passed on. Genetics plays a crucial role in diagnosing and treating inherited disorders. By studying family histories, doctors can identify risks for conditions like cancer or metabolic diseases. Early detection through genetic testing allows for timely treatment and better health outcomes. Genetic testing can reveal abnormalities in embryos or newborns, such as enzyme deficiencies. For example, a blood test can detect phenylketonuria, PKU, a condition that can cause brain damage if untreated. Early diagnosis allows for prompt intervention, preventing serious health problems. Procedures like amniocentesis and chorionic villus sampling allow doctors to test for genetic diseases in embryos as early as 12 weeks. By analyzing a small amount of fluid or tissue, doctors can detect conditions that might affect a baby's health, giving families valuable information and options. Gene therapy aims to treat genetic disorders by adding functional genes to replace defective ones. Using recombinant DNA technology, scientists can create new genes and insert them into a patient's cells. This cutting-edge approach offers hope for treating diseases that were once thought to be incurable. Bioinformatics combines genetics and computer science to analyze large sets of genetic data. By mining the human genome, researchers can identify genes that might be targets for new drugs. This field is revolutionizing the way we develop medicines and understand complex diseases. Developmental genetics examines how genes control growth and development throughout life. From a single fertilized egg, genes guide the transformation into an embryo, then a child, and finally an adult. This process is influenced by both heredity and the environment, shaping everything from intelligence to physical appearance. Heredity plays a major role in transmitting physical and social traits from parents to children. Characteristics like intelligence, body structure, height, weight, and even personality are influenced by genes. However, the environment also shapes these traits, making each person unique. Studies show that intelligence and aptitudes are influenced by both genetics and upbringing. While genes provide the foundation, experiences and education play a significant role in shaping a person's abilities. This interplay highlights the importance of both nature and nurture in human development. Genes determine many aspects of our body structure, such as height, weight, and the color of hair and eyes. These traits are inherited from our parents, but factors like nutrition and lifestyle can also influence how they are expressed. This explains why siblings can look alike but still have differences. While genetics provides the blueprint, the environment shapes how traits are expressed. Factors like diet, exercise, education, and social interactions all play a role in development. This dynamic relationship ensures that no two individuals are exactly alike, even if they share the same genes. Genetics doesn't just affect individuals, it shapes societies. Advances in genetic research have led to better crops, improved medicines, and new technologies. Understanding genetics helps us make informed decisions about health, agriculture, and even ethical issues related to genetic engineering. With the power to modify genes comes responsibility. Ethical questions arise about genetic engineering, cloning, and privacy. Who should have access to genetic information? How should we use this knowledge? These questions are at the forefront of modern genetics, challenging us to balance progress with respect for life. The future of genetics is full of promise. As technology advances, we'll be able to understand and manipulate genes with greater precision. This could lead to cures for genetic diseases, improved crops, and even personalized medicine tailored to your unique genetic makeup. The possibilities are endless. Genetics touches every part of our lives, from the food we eat to the medicines we take. Understanding genetics helps us make better choices about our health, our environment, and our future. Whether you're a scientist or just curious, genetics offers insights that can benefit everyone. In summary, genetics is the science of heredity, exploring how traits are passed from one generation to the next. It encompasses a wide range of subdisciplines, from cytogenetics to genetic engineering, and has applications in agriculture, medicine, and human development. By understanding genetics, we gain insight into the building blocks of life and the factors that shape who we are. Genetics is a special field of biology that studies heredity and the factors that affect it. It explains how traits are inherited, the role of genes, and the impact of environment. Genetics is applied in many fields, improving our lives in countless ways. As we continue to explore this science, we unlock new possibilities for the future. Our journey into genetics is just beginning. With each discovery, we learn more about ourselves and the world around us. Genetics connects us to our past, shapes our present, and opens doors to the future. Stay curious, keep exploring, and remember, the story of genetics is the story of life itself.